nature. How to exercise your dominion and authority. God did not hand over the spiritual world and the natural world to man in verse 26. Stop quoting verse 26. Verse 26 of Genesis chapter 1 verse 26 is God's intention. Genesis chapter 1 verse 26 is God's intention. Genesis chapter 1 verse 27 is emphasis. It reveals God's nature. Genesis chapter 1 verse 28. Then God now hand over the earth. It hand over the spiritual world and the natural world to man in verse 28. And told him in verse 27, the only way you can exercise your dominion and your authority is when my nature and my character is revealed, visible to your natural world. If you can reveal my true nature and my true character to your society, to your family, to your nation, then you can control all the things that I have created. Those things will be subject to you. The spirits will be subject to you. The angelic beings will serve you. The fallen angels will be subject to you. The lions and the serpents will bow before you. You will tread upon scorpions and serpents, and nothing shall by enemies hurt you. When my nature is revealed through you, visible to the eyes of men. When man sees my true character in you, when man sees my true character in you, then all the things I have created will now bow before you. But when you're full of hate, when you're full of wickedness, when you're full of greed, when you close your eyes to the needs of the people, there is no way that the angelic beings will serve you. There is no way that the fallen angels will bow before you. There is no way that the scorpion and the serpent will bow before you. They will begin to pursue you. They will turn against you. And that is what is happening in our society today. That is why I said whenever I receive people written book on how to exercise dominion and authority, I just cannot help but to laugh, because every book they have written on authority and dominion is built on assumption, not on the reality of the knowledge of Christ. Revelation is more superior than assumption. Assumption is built on letters, and the letter killeth, but the spirit gives life. And God said, Genesis chapter 1 verse 20, and God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. That is God's intention for creating man. Understanding that is God's intention for creating man. Verse 27, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Men and female created he them. That is emphasis. There is something that God wants us to know and to learn in verse 27. Then in verse 28, God handed over the earth, the natural world and the invisible world, to man. After we might have learned, after he has spoken in verse 27. God is full of wisdom. Let's see what happened in verse 28. And God blessed them, and God said unto them. Remember, the blessing didn't take place in verse 26. God didn't bless man in verse 26. He only had an intention for man. But the blessing came upon man in verse 28. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply. So stop quoting Genesis chapters. Stop quoting and claiming Genesis 1:26. You are wasting your time. The blessing is not in Genesis 21. The blessing is not in Genesis chapter 1 verse 26. The blessing came upon man in Genesis chapter 1 verse 28. That's where the blessing came. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion. Did you see where God handed the dominion to man? He handed the dominion to man in verse 28. And have dominion over the fish of the sea, that's the natural world, and over the fowl of the air, that's the invisible world, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. So anything that is living, whether spirits or natural, they were handed over to man in verse 28. The fowls of the air represent the principalities and powers, which include the angelic beings and the fallen beings. So any movement of any spirit on this planet is subject to man. But they cannot bow before man. They cannot bow before you until they see the nature of God in you. The fallen angels cannot submit to your authority. They cannot submit to your dominion until they see the nature of God in you. But if you are still exercising the nature of Satan in you, then you are wasting your time quoting, binding, and loosing. What is the nature of God? Love. That was the difference between Jesus and us. Jesus was 100% full of love. The nature of God is love. Verse 27, so God created man in his own image. Image has to do with nature, the character of God. The character, the nature of God. And that nature is summed up in love. Love is the nature. Love is the nature of God. If you are able to reveal the true nature of God, you don't need to bind and loose. The invisible world and the natural world will submit to you. You will walk upon the serpent and scorpion. Nothing shall by any means hurt you. If you are able to reveal in you the true nature of God, which is love, you will tread on serpent and scorpion, and nothing gonna hurt you. You will even drink deadly poisons, and nothing gonna hurt you. You don't need to bind and loose and bind and loose. No. You just need to reveal your nature, the nature of God in you. You just let people see the true character of God, and that character is summed up on the four-letter words. Four-letter words, L-O-V-E. Four-letter words. The agape love of God. The principalities and powers, when they see the true nature of God in you, they will bow before you. You don't need to bind them. You don't need to lose them. They will submit to your authority. The madman in Gadara, when Jesus Christ just came out from the boat, the devil came and they bowed before Jesus and said, "Oh, we know you are the Son of the living God. Please don't destroy us before the time." Jesus looked at the winds and he rebuked them. He said, "Peace, be still." And they submitted to his authority. The nature of God is summed up in 4-letter words. L-O-V-E. Any society, any family that lack that the love of God is lacking will end up in chaotic. It will end up in confusion, end up in killing, end up in depression. Satan will take over that society and that family. The only thing that eradicates Satan is the nature of God, the love. When that is seen in you, Satan bow. The natural world bow. Sickness bow. You will live in divine health. You will live in divine health. The reason why you are living in sickness, in disease, in pain is because the nature of God is not seen in you. You are not revealing the true nature of God in you. You are only exercising your old nature, the nature of Satan, the character of Satan, which is hidden in wickedness, hate. You build a house that the poor cannot even afford. But you pray 24 hours, you fast, you bind, you lose. You're only wasting your time. You build a house that the poor cannot afford. You build schools that the poor cannot afford. And you are binding and losing. And you are singing. And you are... No. The Bible says, so God created man in his own image. Image. You are not displaying the image of God. You are rather displaying the image of Satan. And that's why Satan is taking control over your life. When you begin to display the true nature of God, you will begin to exercise your dominion and authority. God handed over the natural world and the invisible world to man in verse 28, not in verse 26. Verse 27 is an emphasis. It was a repetition of what God wanted man to know before the blessing comes in verse 28. The image was necessary. The image of God is the only means that you can exercise your authority and walk in dominion. And the image of God is summed up in 4-letter words. L-O-V-E. Thank you so much for watching this video. And then don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Likes and share your thoughts in the comment section. And I will see you.